G'day and welcome to episode 17 of the Van Build. This week I'm going to be working on getting this internal partition put in. I've got some four-way stretch fabric here to cover one side of it with, and also to do the over cab cupboard with. Get that done and then carry on with lining. So let's get into it. One of the things I need to do with this partition is figure out what to do about a door. And I've got this bit of 6mm ply here, which is the offcut from the shower wall that I put in on Saturday, and it's pretty much the ideal size really to form the door. And then I need something for it to run in. I've got some offcuts of aluminium channel like this. Now they're not going to be big enough, I don't think, to be runners for the door, but that size of aluminium channel looks like it will probably be ideal. So I think that's the direction I'm going to go in, a piece of that at the top and a piece at the bottom for the door to run in. It should get me pretty close to where I want to be, I think. Hopefully, slide these aluminium extrusions. I think I'm just going to chuck it in the van and just test it out a little bit. Well, here's where I'm at. I had intended to slide the door to the driver's side, but there's not quite enough room there. The door won't get all the way open because it hits the wall up in the corner up here. So there's more space on the passenger side. The problem is there's not as much space behind the passenger seat as there is behind the driver's seat. So that's one problem. The top of this wall is actually just a little bit too high, and it's making the shelf sit a little bit too high as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sneak this wall out back into the van just by 6mm. So the shelf will come down by the thickness of itself. Sit flush with the top of that, and that will just bring everything into the alignment that I need. G'day. Well, this evening I'm nearly ready to put the shelf and wall in, but first of all I need to cover the shelf with the fabric. I also need to prime the door before I cover that and install it. Somewhat annoyingly, the manufacturer of this product puts a sticker on each board, and the sticker doesn't come off very easily and it leaves a sticky residue on the board, so I've got to clean that off. Good morning, it's a grand final Friday public holiday today. It's the day where in Victoria we have a public holiday because the grand final isn't today. And so that gives me the day to work on the van, which is great. This week the plan was to get the ceiling installed. I'm not going to be able to complete that because I'm waiting on parts for something which I need to add another penetration through the roof. So I'm going to need access to one area there. But I can get a reasonable amount of that done. But before I work on that, I'm going to finish installing the partition between the cab and the rear of the van, which I started installing yesterday. The bottom end is fixed down. The top end needs to be fixed to the shelf needs to be fixed to the top of the wall, and and everything just locked into place. And then I also need to work out how I'm going to marry it all together around the back of the cab. Alright, well that's done and I'm mostly happy with it. There's still some details to work out, like the trim over on that side there and on the other side needs a little bit of tidying up. But I'm at the point now where I can carry on with the ceiling, or at least as much of the ceiling as I'm able to do until I get the parts I need for the satellite dish connection to come through the roof. So at this point I'm going to cut the holes for the lights down the centre here. I've spaced them out evenly. I'm not going to install the lights yet, but I'm going to cut the holes and fish the wires so that I know that I've got them. Then after the ceiling is properly painted, then the lights can go in. It's going well so far. I'm happy with the progress. I'm kind of up to a little bit of a tricky part now though. This board that is going to go in next on this side, I'm going to have to scribe to fit around the runner for the sliding door. So you can see that it comes up and then hits the runner there. So I need to measure that up and scribe it, figure out how I'm going to make that work. So there's a few ways you could go about doing this. What I'm going to do, I've just got a bit of a scrap of 3mm ply, which I've cut to the width of one of these tongue and groove boards, and then I can just set it up in the groove there, slide it forward, scribe that curve, cut that. Now it's not sitting far enough forward, but when I cut that, then I'll be able to slide it further forward until I get it into the right position. That'll give me, I can line it up with the end, get my curve cut, scribed, and then just mark it onto the board that I'm going to use. I've just roughly cut it to the line that I marked. Now I can put it back in, slide it forward, and that gets me flush now with the front. So now I can scribe again, cut that out and try it and see how we go from there. I think it must be catching on that bolt. There we go. Alright, I just need to scribe it at the back as well because the back corner curves in slightly. G'day, it's Saturday morning. Yesterday I just carried on with the ceiling, as you can see. So I've basically done as much of the ceiling as I can for the moment. I'm still waiting on parts from Outback Comms to cut down the Starlink dishy and mount that on the roof, and I need those so that I can bring the cable through before I put the ceiling up. So waiting on that to finish off this section of ceiling here. That's alright, got other things to do. We've painted the rest of the long boards that we have, so we just got the short ones, 2.4 metre ones to do yet. We both kind of had enough of that for the moment, so I'm going to carry on with other things for now. Get this short timber out of here. I said the other day I wasn't quite sure how I was going to handle these corners, and the way that it's worked out with where the edge of the last ceiling board comes to, I think it works out alright. I think that I'll be able to just butt a wall one up like that. There's a bit of an angle there, and then carry on down the wall. So that's what I'm going to work on next. But before I do that, while I was at Bunnings this morning, I picked up a handle which I'm going to fit to the door here for sliding it open and closed. The front end of this piece should be fairly easy. It's just a straight cut. The back here, you have to scribe it the shape here. So here's how I'm going to do it. Just got a block of wood, which is a little thicker than how much I need to scribe. And I'll just hold my piece of wood up there, get my block, butt my piece of wood to it, and then I can use that to run down. It's not going to be amazing, but it'll get me in the ballpark. The hardest part is holding everything in place. So I expect I'm probably going to have to relieve the back because of the way this curves. Let's see how close we are. Yeah. So we need to just cut a chamfer on the back, I think. It's fitting a lot better. Now to see whether my theory about how this is going to work is actually going to pan out. Gap up the back there is not brilliant. So the issue I'm having is that the ceiling bows upwards back here, but that's because this is not actually fixed to anything here. So if I can pack it down, should do the trick. So in the end, my gap here is a bit wider than I would have liked, but I'm okay with that because what I've prioritized is getting this bottom edge of this board parallel with this top edge of the cutout for the bed or the window. I think it's more important to have those parallel than that gap, as nice as I would like it, given that that gap will be hidden anyway inside of the overhead cupboard. If you're wondering about this glue that I'm using, it's Sally's Flex Seal, and the reason I'm using it as opposed to say wood glue is that it flexes, it allows a little bit of movement, so it should stop the boards from squeaking and creaking, but also won't stop them, won't try and lock them in so that they can't move at all. So that's my theory. Hopefully that's how it works out in practice. Okay, pretty happy with that. A little bit of clean up to do, and then we call it a day. Well, thanks for joining me for episode 17. That's going to be the end of the episode. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. As always, be kind.